This overview video is going to walk you through the Education Department lesson plan guidelines for our ECE 111 course, and we'll also walk through a sample lesson plan. The first part of this document expresses that your lesson planning for this course supports the NAEYC Standard 5 for professional development, which is using content knowledge to build meaningful curriculum. So we're going to practice planning a lesson plan. This may be the first lesson plan some of you have written, and it may be a different format for others who have written lesson plans in the past. We are going to follow this template, as this lesson plan is the same format you will use for various courses throughout your education program at Delaware Tech. You're going to be receiving feedback from your instructor, as this is a tiered assessment. You and your teaching partner will work together, receive that feedback, and make modifications along the way. Just a reminder that there are lots of resources that you'll be referencing by completing this assessment. Okay. Page 2 includes the actual lesson plan guidelines that are specific to our course. So it begins with lesson plan information, your full names, the age group will be preschool, and your healthy recipe name. You can make that cute and rhymey, but it can just be making a pizza. Keep it simple if you choose. We're going to move down to standards and objectives. Standards are the purpose for your lesson. This is to introduce, reinforce, evaluate certain standards. Introduce, reinforce, evaluate are Bloom's taxonomy terms, so it may be helpful to reference that document as well. So below is an example of the DELFs, and all of your standards will be derived from the DELF. It's indicating that you need the code and the language. And again, you'll see this in the example. Student teaching teams will include 2 standards only. Same with measurable objectives. Only 2 measurable objectives. More is not better in this case. So what will the children be doing? And really it's important here to think about what are they doing, how are they doing it, and can you observe it? Okay, so again, this information provides you information specific to how to write an objective, and also reminds you that you'll be using the skill inventory for preschool to develop your objectives. Your objectives will be bolded in the below sections. For your materials and supplies, you're going to include all materials that you need to create and implement your lesson plan. So be thinking about the pre-steps. Maybe you're making a poster. In this case, you're making rebus picture cards. So you will need a computer and printer and ink. It is all of the materials that you need. Preparation. This describes what you will need to do before your lesson begins with the children. So all of the prep steps, sanitation of the table, washing your hands, setting up trays, etc. Procedures include your introduction, your lesson, and the conclusion transition. You're going to be very specific in these components of your lesson plan. Think about it as if you're writing a script. You're not typing anything under procedures header. This is just a description for you. So you're going to drop down to introductions. Make sure that you introduce both of the teachers, and think about the following. What visual and auditory materials are you going to employ to grab the children's attention? Something that's going to draw them to your lesson. And you also want to introduce a key concept or skill. Think about what you've taught previously. And again, you'll have to pretend, consider the standards and objectives as well. Your lesson itself is going to be that detailed script. Within this script, you need to include 2 divergent questions. If you haven't already, the divergent question review document will be a great support. And just a reminder that not all questions need to be divergent, but at least 2 need to be in this section. It is okay to ask yes, no, math 1 answer questions. That's fine, but there should be a balance. And divergent questions require critical thinking of our young children, and that ultimately is our goal. You need to have evidence of your objectives from above, and you're going to bold them. And going backwards, you're going to underline your divergent questions. So those two visual indicators will be there for the reviewers of your lesson plan. Next component is conclusion and transition. In your conclusion, you're going to review one of your learning objectives. How are you going to reinforce it? And again, you're going to bold that objective. It is not a third objective, and that objective needs to be in the above components. It's not something you're introducing to the children for the first time, but rather reinforcing to them. And then finally, think about how you're going to transition the children away from your activity. Being that these are cooking activities, it may be a song or a movement to the bathroom for them to wash their hands. Your references will be in this final section, and please make sure you're using APA citation. You do not need to cite the Delaware Early Learning Foundations or the skill inventory, as this is an expectation of the lesson plan. And finally, review the reminders before you review your lesson plan for grammar, spelling, and content. Okay, so let's look at an actual sample lesson plan. I'm still in planning healthy lessons, and now we're going to venture down into the sample lesson plan, which is making a pizza. And as you're going through the documents for this assessment, you'll find that this is the consistent example throughout. Okay, so this is a partial lesson plan to assist you in the construction of your own lesson plan, and it does follow the Education Department lesson plan guidelines as just reviewed. Your names, full names please. Preschool for everybody, and in this case we're building a pizza. The standard, one of the standards written for making a pizza is to communicate using multiple words and phrases, including nouns, verbs, descriptive phrases, and prepositions. And the objective that supports that standard is that I'm using skill inventory 3, that's 3 to 4-year-olds, and I'm identifying 3 objects by their use. The materials that are needed, you're going to list in text, as well as starting to build your Rebus picture library here. Okay, so flour, dough, and you want to make sure as you're searching these images that they're very clean and crisp. Obviously, they'll be larger on your Rebus picture flipbook for the children, but these should be bold and bright and clearly identifiable items and images for the children. Tools and utensils that'll be used include the following: mats or trays, pizza pans, tablespoons, hands. With Rebus pictures, you'll see that every step of the process is going to be illustrated with an image. And then teacher-only materials. Are there things that you are going to need to use? This will come into play if you're cooking. So for this case, we're going to need ovens. And I'm going to let the children know that for safety reasons, I'm using oven gloves. And then I'm going to pull the pizza out of the oven and show them how we cut them, right? Hands to themselves, and the teacher's going to cut. We're going to talk about the division of a circle and bring in some math concepts as well. Okay, so teams are encouraged to read the preparation steps. And again, this is very detailed. Lesson plans are going to be anywhere from 3 to 4 pages in length. And ultimately, if you think about the detail level, it should be that if you handed this lesson plan over to a substitute, that they could read this and implement the lesson plan, preparation, implementation, etc. Procedures, remember, we're dropping right down to introduction. So I'm saying good morning to my friends. My name is Elizabeth. This is my teaching partner, Robbie. We're excited about what is your lesson plan? In this case, we're making a recipe, and everybody's going to have a chance, but 3 friends are going to come to the table first, right? So the teacher 1 is going to call their names, and they're going to please use their fish fins by placing their bent arms out and swimming over. And remember that you want to model the actions that you're asking the children to do. Anytime that you can involve more than one sense, you're going to grab the children's attention. So in this case, you have them visually involved because you're modeling for them. Maybe you're going to pucker your lips and make fishy sounds. Think about if you're going to make wave sounds. So how are you going to engage them? How are you going to get them excited? They need to come to your lesson plan in order for you to evaluate if they're meeting the standards and the objectives. So continue to read this in detail. We're going to jump down to the lesson part. Again, you can see that this is written in a script format. Teacher 1 is going to say, quote, Teacher 1 is going to review the ingredients, right? And all of your rebus picture are going to be brought down here. This will ensure you as you're planning that you have the images that you need step by step for the lesson plan itself. Teacher 2 kicks in and you can see that what is one of the tools and what do we use with it is bolded because this is our objective number 1. And if we scroll back up, you'll see that objective number 1 is to identify 3 objects by their use. So we're asking the children about the tools that they're using, and we're going to encourage more than 1 children to participate. If they don't respond, think about how you will respond. Okay? So it goes on with the script and the rebus pictures, and you're going to continue to develop your script, detailed step-by-step bullets. Remember, this is a partial lesson plan. Make sure that additional divergent questions related to this lesson can be added, but you don't want this to be a Q&A session. These are preschoolers. They want to be active. They want to be telling you things, and you need to be asking them to describe things. This is not a quiz or a test. Your conclusion, the suggestion in this example is that when you're done creating your pizza, you can give a thumbs up so somebody can come and help you. And when the child indicates that, the teacher will ask the child, what tools did you make with your pizza today? Again, you can see it's bolded because it's reinforcing that objective number 1. The teacher will then assist them and place their pizza on the pizza pan or the cooking sheet and encourage the children by saying great job or expand on that. I really like how you spread your cheese out evenly, and I see that you use just one of your ingredients. Can you tell me what ingredients you used? And then again, using that same swim fish transition away, you can build on that. What animal do you want to move like when you go to the bathroom to wash your hands? Right? Critical thinking, divergent question right at the end. All of your resources must be APA formatted. And if you need support, you should go to the Delaware Tech Library Citation Guide. Below is a sample rebus recipe flipbook. And again, it's specific to a pizza recipe. This is the next part. So once you've written your lesson plan, you can see you're going to bring your images down and you're going to do a step-by-step. This would be set up on the table or it would be connected with O-rings so the children could walk through. Step 1, wash your hands, put on a smock, find a chair with a baking mat in front of it. Because it might be a table for 4, 5, or 6, but you're choosing to have only 3 people or 3 children at the table at a time. Step 2, use your eyes and let's name the different ingredients. This is part of your initial steps for your lesson component. Step 3, use your eyes and let's name the different tools that we're going to be using. Right? And their hands aren't going to be on the tools, but can you model the rolling pin and maybe they can pretend to have the rolling pin, or maybe they can pretend to be patting the dough with their hands and you have them pat or clap 1, 2, 3 times. So these are visuals to support the students step by step through this project, but also for you as a teacher. Right? So the steps are included. And you can see that, and you're going to do both. You're going to do a written lesson plan, and you're also going to create this rebus recipe flipbook. Hope this was helpful information. If you have questions, work with your teaching partner or inquire with your course instructor.